What's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in to TwistedYounginz, the most unorthodox show on the globe. We hope everybody is having a wonderful day. You're staying safe, keeping yourself healthy with everything going on. I am one of your hosts, Myra B. King.
And this is Desi Dez.
And it's your boy Mojo in the building. We have a special guest with us today, sir. Let the people know who you are.
Man, my name is Ashleybooker. I'm from St. Louis. I'm a music producer. I've been producing for quite some time. I've worked through pretty much all the eras here. Like, got my early start working with, even the likes of Nelly and the Chingies, and then the first wave, all the way up to pretty much everybody involved with the new wave now.
Well, congratulations.
I was with So Def for 10 years, so I learned under Jermaine Depuri. So he's like my brother still to this day. And but I'm back in St. Louis to kind of feel like a gap or a void, because I feel like there was a lot of creatives in the city, but there wasn't anybody who was willing to play the back. You know what I mean? We have like a lot of songwriters, a lot of producers, a lot of artists, but I feel like what's missing is a lot of times people who actually understand the business and know how to kind of connect A to B, you know what I mean, for the artist to actually get out and kind of serve as a channel, you know what I mean, to a pipeline, I guess, per se, to kind of get talent shooting out of here. You know what I mean? Because there's definitely a wealth of talent in the city.
Well, would you say that that there is like, because I'm noticing that, well, first of all, congratulations on everything that you've accomplished, man.
Absolutely.
Especially with being a producer and, to maintain your longevity, and you working with So Def. Congratulations for that. And thank you for giving us your time. But I do want to get to, because I have noticed over the past, maybe I want to say 2 or 3 years, I feel like there is a dot connector somewhere, because I'm seeing St. Louis artists, maybe like Young Five, you got Big Boss Vet, you got Sexy Red, and a couple other ones that I can't name. Jizzle Bucks, Smino, like it's something there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but I would guess that, there's some light or some type of dot connector in the area.
Yeah, they get major deals.
Yeah, no, things are definitely happening. Also, I've worked with Yvette, worked with Sexy Red. I actually did a deal also with Warner right before pre-COVID. It was a single deal for an artist named Gusto, and we had a record called Club Banger. And actually, shout out to Jizzle Bucks. Jizzle Bucks got on a remix for us, and so definitely free him. And but pretty much, like I say, within the last like 2 or 3 years, things are opening up. It's just, I guess what I mean by that is, we just haven't had that one thing completely just explode. I think Smino is definitely dope. Like, and I think he would be like, if we were talking about everybody in a collective as a group right now ahead, you know what I mean? Because he's been, has had a major deal, major backing for a while.
But major backing from who?
I want to say Smino is signed to, I know he just did a deal with Interscope. I don't know who he was with before, but I want to say Interscope right now. And I want to say also Sexy Red's over at Interscope as well. So like, there are a lot of cool things happening right now in the city. I'm just waiting for the emergence of a big presence in the industry from the city. You know what I mean? Like and I feel like we're on the verge of that, like having somebody like shoot out, like let's say if we talk about a girl rapper, somebody who just pops out and becomes like the Cardi B. I see that record rolling right now, so I'm definitely proud of her. And or like if you talk about a male rapper, like kind of like just somebody who's going to maintain dominance on the charts, like a Little Baby or something like that. And I think we're on the verge of that. I think we have a lot of talent, and I think everybody's kind of right at that. If I was equating it to something, it's like it's about if we're like right on top of the fence, the cup's about to fall over. You know what I mean? Like, because everybody's pretty much in a good position, I feel.
So, okay. So you mentioned female rappers. I want to speak briefly about that, because I feel like sometimes they don't get enough shine. It's always the men that are being mentioned.
Even though it seems like the female era.
It really is.
It's not getting. Yes, it's not getting.
Hold on, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. What you're saying?
You said you kind of disagree.
I disagree in the fact that I think they're getting their light right now. I mean, the women are, they're getting deals. They controlling the charts. I mean, they're doing a lot right now in the game.
Yeah.
I guess I was speaking more on this in the St. Louis scene. As far as the women are getting more shine to our culture for sure. I'm not gonna
even in St. Louis, because like if you would say the top 5 or whatever, you have to put Big Boss Vet because of the fact that TikTok seemed like it's exploding with that song.
Yeah,
along with
I guess more so for sure. Okay, so yeah, they are getting shine.
Yeah.
But how long do you think that shine will last? And question: do you think that that these female rappers are following a trend? Because honestly, I feel like they have more talent than they are putting in their music. And I don't want to come off disrespectful to any of them if they are watching this or if they will watch this, but I feel like they're all kind of like talking about the same thing. When you mention like Sexy Red, Big Boss Vet, and not even just them, a couple of other female rappers in the city who have,
Rider.
they have beautiful voices, and you can tell that they can sing, that they can rap, but it's all just geared towards one lane of what's between my legs. Oh, I got this man, he's spinning the bag on me, I got him, I got that. But one who does stick out to me, and she may not be the best, is Pink Caravan, because she seems to be off in her own lane. You know what I mean? So and I'm not saying all her music is dope or whatever, but sometimes it's just refreshing to hear a break from all of people following the trend. And I want to get your take about that, because you may have something totally different to say.
No, look, I agree. I feel like a lot of times it's almost a symptom of I think it's more of the business side of the music business as a whole. Like they kind of set it to where women have to kind of follow in certain ways to have an opportunity. I'm not saying it's not up to me to say, yeah, they could choose to be different. They could choose to take a different route, like a Pink Caravan, or, others who choose not to lead with sexuality. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, like all the top artists that are female have led with sexuality for the most part, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, as of the last like 20 years, 15 years, right? So there's been some kind of like sexuality or thing to the music. And I feel a lot of that is propagated through, I have to go back to the labels, because the labels kind of dictate. And then it also goes back to what people want, because I feel like they just kind of feed a market, but they also create the market. So I can't say that they're off the hook with it. I feel like a lot of times the girls who do come differently have a harder time.
And I don't want to stick too long on this because I know he has a take, but I'm just saying, like, we got a lot of stuff being pushed to us as a Black culture when it comes to being music. We got Lil Nas X, and we got all these sexuality female rappers, including the men that you just named.
You got Nicki.
But when you look at them,
Cardi and Meg scissoring on stage.
But when you look at them, they're what's being pushed to the white crowd, or the majority of the crowd. It's more lukewarm. It's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. I see your perspective, and that's why I say I don't really know if I could really go as far as really to blame the actual artists per se, because I feel like the artists, they get into the game and and they're influenced by certain artists, and if the certain artists that we're being influenced by kind of are a certain way, you kind of see them kind of embody some of the things they see and take from those styles or how they present themselves. I'm not saying that it's the right image, because I don't. I feel like it sucks that it's an entertainment business, and obviously the sad part about the entertainment business is that it gets skewed because it has so much influence over youth that may be, misled and may not, have maybe a good household, good parents, good structure to let them know that like that, that's not the only way. And that has nothing to do with being, melanated or being Black or whatever, like that's not culture. It's entertainment. You know what I mean? But I feel like sometimes they propagate that like rap music is our culture, and it's not. You know what I mean? That's not a culture. You know what I mean? It's entertainment. Do I like all of the forms of how we're being propagated or seen? Like even as far as even the male rappers, like with having to be either I guess kind of homosexual with it, or you also have the street element too that just kind of teaches kids definitely the wrong path of life, and people think that is a part of being, I guess
that's what I'm talking about.
Black. Right, and I don't think that's right. No,
it's not just the industry though. A lot of artists are doing what they got to do. If that's what got you in the game, you're gonna keep doing what got you in, and you're trying to rise.
I think it's a symptom of just generations of that being pushed down. So they grew up that way. They don't know no better. Because honestly, you could truly look at some of these artists. It's not a game. I'd be in the studio with them. It's just who they are. You know what I mean? Like, and so how do you tell a person? It's hard to tell a person to do better when they don't know better. When that's how they grew up. They grew up looking at, people like that or artists that came before them, who set that tone kind of, you know what I mean? I think it's a symptom of that as well, too, is that, when you are a new act, all you have is the influences that you listen to or the things that wherever the environment that I guess you culminated your style and started making your music. And that's the basis you have to start with until you get to a point where I feel when your eyes start to get a little bit more open and then maybe you grow, you know what I mean? But a lot of times these artists, when you see them in their rawest form, when they're trying and they're thriving and trying to get on, I don't really look at them like they're trying to, I want to be like her. I want to be like this person. I just think they think that's just what it is to be that, to be a rapper or to be in that, world. You know what I mean? Because they, it's not like anybody that I feel like that's another problem with them. But this is another thing to speak to the music business. They don't really develop these artists either. So what happens is they go straight from. That's why another thing, it makes it important to have people like myself and others who do the same type of thing as far as like developing artists, working with them, trying to school them to the best of your ability, you know what I mean? In their corner as they kind of navigate the business, because right now the music industry does not put any effort towards, I guess, artist development or making sure like, okay, I know this person it could become really big. So let's mold them. Let's let them get ready for this life. So a lot of times you have like almost like unfinished products just being thrown to the fire. And then if it connects, and then they gone and that's it. And the labels don't care. They're making their money. And then when they're done with them, they throw them away,
Yeah. I feel like that's a reflection of growing up in a household that's void of God, void of true morality.
Correct.
The right and the wrong.
Now, in your
one more thing, for its culture, I do feel like it has a cultural impact on our community.
Oh, it does.
Because a lot of our youth look up to rappers. Grown folks grew up looking up to rappers and idolizing them.
I thought that's a problem, though. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. Like, home. Yeah, at home, and also, we grew up idolizing these people, and even the rappers play on the drug dealing type of theme because they have money in their videos or whatever, and knowing that an average person that's a working man, he has his money in the bank. So I'm trying to show you wealth. I'm trying to make you idolize it so you can feel a feeling of successfulness in my raps. Like some rappers never sold drugs in their life, but they give the drug dealing image, I guess, to us because that's growing up. That's who we looked at as a successful person in the neighborhood. The people with the flashy cars, the gangsters, the drug dealers. You know what I mean? To the youth, but it goes back to the household. How do you raise your kids? They listen to these raps, and a lot of our youth are influenced by these raps. To me, it contributes to the murders. I don't feel like no person in history has ever did a drive-by without listening to raps that was in agreement with that situation, sliding on your enemies. So
this and the ops, all of that stuff is included.
I agree.
No, absolutely. In your time that you've been in the industry, let's get this out the way. How did you get your start? Because you said you spent 10 years on So Def. So let's get into it.
I got my start. I went to the University of Kansas, and I had plans to go to law school. I took my LSAT, all that, but I came home. Nelly was exploding at the time, and I was like, you know what? I started producing in school. I wasn't really taking it serious. So when I came back home, I hit the ground running. And I ended up getting my breakthrough a company called Track Boys, which is I don't know if you guys know Tarboy and Capo. They gave me my break. I was a staff producer over there, and then from that, I mean, it's kind of like they kind of drug me straight into the world because they were already moving. They had already had success, Billboard success and all that, and and so it kind of put me in the mix to be able to work with and be a part, I guess, even though I was a newer, I guess, piece, but I got the experience that old run and got to work with all the artists and get records on and establish myself in connections, throughout the industry. So when things started to kind of dry up in St. Louis a little bit, I was able to, go to LA. I had opportunity out there to work and produce. I was managed at that time by this guy named Max Goose. Max Goose was Beyonce's day-to-day manager. So at this time she was still like in that transitional stage between like music world and actually just getting with Jay-Z taking over her business. So it was kind of a weird time I was over there. So, but I learned a lot of harsh lessons out there that way. Built an artist. Jermaine Depuri was at the time he was the president of Island, and L.A. Reid was the president of Def Jam. So, but Island Def Jam is literally the same company, but they were both the heads at the time. Yep. And I made a mark, out there, and they were interested in signing this artist. They ended up passing on the artist. Long story, but they ended up passing on the artist, going with the singing group. At this point, I'm pretty much burnt on music. I'm burnt on the industry. I had seen enough and been through enough to where I was like, I can do something else. You know what I mean? And then Jermaine actually hits me up. Like literally, I get back to St. Louis and he hits me up. He's like, yo, I know I passed on your artist, but I think you have a bright future, as a producer. So I want you to come out to Atlanta and meet with me. So, and then went down there and met with him and really didn't leave after that. You know what I mean? And then I came back after doing with Jermaine, the coolest part about JD was he actually allowed me to be like a shadow, so meaning that like it would be like meetings, things that I had no business being in, but he'd be like, no, you stay. You know what I mean? So I always rock with that because that's how I really learned the business. I got to see it from the inside and out on every level. And so I kind of know how, from the executive side, how they kind of look at it down to, I guess producers, sub labels, what they need to do in order to kind of build the buzz of the artist, even down to the artists. I've seen so many artists and have been fortunate to work with so many, big artists and also some artists who didn't make it, but I just learned from every experience,
Yeah.
And who was your artist?
Right now I'm working with Gusto. Like Gusto.
Okay, the one you had at the moment. I'm sorry, we're gonna get to, but the one you had at the moment that JD passed on.
Oh, it was KL, man. It was like a long time ago. I don't even know if he's rapping anymore. Shout out to KL. That's still my brother, but yeah, it was KL. He was a kid at the time.
So okay, and your experience of which
go ahead, speak on Gus. He can speak on his artist though.
With Gusto, it's a crazy story. He was at my studio and actually was a promoter, and I met him through another artist. Because when I got back here, what I did was I established studios to try to get a scope on like a lot of the talent here, and through that, I liked the artist he was working with at the time, and I started working with the artist. We got like this placement down there with Future them, and so then it was like all this business going on. But then Gusto would be around all the time, and he was like, "Man, I just want to learn," and so then we became really cool. I was helping him with his party promotions, and he was trying to get into like maybe like even executive producing projects and helping to develop acts. But then it got to a point where I was like, you know what, maybe we just we mess around, we make a record. I'm like, we'll make like this club banger type record, and it can actually promote your parties. It can help me kind of ingratiate my sound, because at this point I'm back producing. I'm more, because at first I was kind of just trying to manage producers, writers, and all that. But then I ended up being like, you know what, I just need to just get back to it. And so I ended up making this track, sent it to him, came up with a hook, and I was like, this is actually really good. So he had never rapped before, he had rapped like messing around growing up, but he had never really took it serious. And then from that record, it started to kind of bubble on its own. And then I was able to get a deal with Warner.
Okay, so he goes by like Gusto Diddy?
Yeah, you see him on yeah.
Okay, cool. Congratulations to that. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I forgot.
Are you guys working on a project?
Yeah, we actually just dropped a project called Return of the City. But we're actually coming back with something else, because I'm in the middle. Like, we have a record right now called Hurricane Chris. It's burning up back, in St. Louis. I don't know if you guys are in town, but it's called Hurricane Chris. And then it's playing in about like 15 to 20 markets right now, getting picked up on a playlist and all that. So, and it's kind of doing all that on its own. So now I'm probably looking to try to get, some kind of partnership or some kind of situation with a major, and try to drop, like, get them an artist deal as opposed to just a single deal. Because the single deal with Club Banger kind of got disrupted because of COVID, because we had a club record and then the whole world shut down. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. And you explain a single deal to artists out here who don't know what that is?
Okay, a single deal is kind of pretty much your deal is contingent on the record. You know, they believe in the record. They're not completely sold on you as an artist. So in some situations, it can make sense if it, because I guess to break down, I guess, how to break records, it takes budget. You know, it takes some kind of budget on some levels. You know, like, yes, you got to have good material. Hopefully your artist has some substance, something cool to grab onto, but it does take marketing budget in order to get things out to the masses. I mean, you got to look at how big really the world, hell, just look at some cities, just even become the hottest artist in a city. And then you got to think how many cities are in the United States and then how many places, just a lot of ground to cover. So you need a budget. So like, now if you have people around you that have that kind of money, great. You know what I mean? But if not, you know, if you made a record just kind of trending and kind of making some moves, a single deal might make sense for you, because then the label will put up the funding to kind of get your stretch out there. Cause I mean, it literally went from, we were like locally playing in St. Louis to playing around the whole world. You know what I mean? As soon as we signed, you know what I mean? It's that's the kind of power labels have. You know, labels are really bad, and they'll tell you this, they're bad at 1 to 7, but they're unbeatable from 7 to 10, meaning that if you get something moving and kind of creating its own traction, they can take it over the house. Yeah, they can take it over. You know?
And what you've done thus far and everything, especially with you working with artists, being a producer, coming up under Jermaine Depuri and everything like that, what do you think is the most crucial part of developing an artist in today's day and age?
I feel like people have to you have to literally get dirty with the artist now. Like, see, a long time ago, like you could get developmental budgets and the labels would actually help you in the developmental part. They'll give you some money. You kind of get the artists together, slowly start, get them working, get a record going. And then their real budget would kick in once they were ready, once they were finished product. Where I feel right now is that there's no way to just show up for the end part of it. You have to, if you're a producer, or if you're a sub labels like the QCs or whatever out there that are out here making noise, they have to get in the ship with the artists. They can't just sit in the office and let them handle that. No, you got to be out there. You got to go show to show. You got to, you know what I mean? You got to really, really be invested in the talent that you're trying to work.
Okay.
How was it working with Nelly? And I definitely have to give Nelly. I feel like Nelly doesn't get more respect of coming from the his era, coming from St. Louis, and being a rapper, one of the few rappers to sell over a diamond and probably can still go overseas and sell out a show. Not many rappers can do that. How was it working with Nelly?
Nelly is, thus far, I feel like the biggest talent that I've seen from, this area. I mean, he's special,
he is.
Yeah, he is. He just, he's everything as advertised, electrifying, funny, cool to be around. You know what I mean? Super talented musically, so like he pretty much has all the, the tools, which obviously speaks to the success he had in the industry,
Yeah, he sold more records than everybody except for Eminem, right?
Yeah,
I want to say that.
And you're talking about, to add on to that, Des, we're talking about physical copies at the moment, to sell over 10 million physical copies, and to be able to do world tours. Like, not many rappers can do that. At all.
How you doing?
You're doing country albums, double disc, and they're making number 1, number 2, and then you're coming back with Hot in Here, and like you said, Loving Me.
Hey, do you feel like that Smino should be like bigger than he is? Because like he's real dope.
Yeah, I feel like that. I feel like it's coming. I feel like it is coming. I feel like with their new partnership they got, over Interscope, I feel like that's really what the plan is for Smino, is that they're gonna try to kind of get him more into the mainstream, even though he has a cult following. Like that man got fans. He got real fans. Actually, sometimes you don't know which is better, because when you're in a position like him, you got those fans that's gonna be with you through and through, be at your shows, get your merch. You know what I mean? Like they're truly invested in you, the artist, as opposed to just being some person that everybody likes because everybody talks about that person. You know what I mean? But I do see him becoming bigger though. Yeah.
Why do you think he hasn't popped off yet? Because if he's got a cult following and you got a label behind you pushing a budget, why don't you?
He popped, but to a different level.
Right, he's popped. It's just I feel like it's if you're gonna ask me, my personal opinion is probably records. You know what I mean? Like, because honestly, you need something that
something that sticks.
Right, there's not just, you know, for a certain audience. It has to be for the masses. If you
want to be honest,
that's what I play in the masses. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. That's what I was getting to. Smino is a great artist. I like the creativity and everything that he does, but he just doesn't have that hit yet. That's solidified his name. Like
that one record that'll be that commercial record to where I don't have to be into Smino and still like the record. You feel
do you think
that is harder to do?
I was just gonna say.
They don't realize that's harder to do, to make one of those records that's just a smash hit. That's maybe it grabs people in a certain type of way that even if you don't know who Smino is, like you said, that you like the song. That's hard to do.
But I also think songs like that are not like, oh, this gonna be the song. I think artists just make music, and at some point in time, the people, your cult following, the fans, and the people choose that song. Like, oh, this is a hit. Club DJs.
But some do go in the studio thinking about radio records.
It's very true.
You know what I'm saying? So.
No, you're correct about that. Like, there is. I will say this as a producer. There is. Music is formulaic. So like if you listen to, you know, top of the charts and records, there are a formula to them. You know what I mean? Like there's a rhyme for reason, you know? And I feel like when artists start to understand the rhyme for reason, they definitely can always put themselves in that arena. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna say now they might have some songs perform better than others. You can't really control that aspect, but you can put yourself in the arena. You know what I mean? Like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Who are some producers in St. Louis that other than yourself, of course, that you may want to shed light on or
that don't give the respect they deserve?
Right. I'll give a lot of people respect here. I mean, obviously we have like Maestro's one, Maestro Frio. We have you know, obviously Chop Squad DJs out here killing it. You know what I mean? You have which all these guys too, they all like Chop Squad. I remember he was like 17 in my studio. You know what I mean? Like and then even Chase the Money's doing really well. He's out in LA right now. You have I feel like let me think of some more. I got some other producers I definitely want to put on the radar. Like I know this is Kai MJ I'm working with, this guy Elliot Montgomery I'm working with now. And Daryl Beats, you know what I mean? Like, I try like with the producers, I try to keep my door open. I want anybody to come through because as you know, with producing, there are a lot of tricks to the trade to where even on the production side, to where you can set an artist up to have, you know, maybe that record that kind of breaks through or whatever. You know what I mean?
You ever work with Metro?
Yeah, actually, Metro, I'm gonna tell you guys a crazy story. He when I first got back to St. Louis, I had a studio and Metro came because at the time me and like Fresco Kane's like my brother. So like we had just did a situation over at Sony Epic, and so he was over. So I had the studio. So Jermaine was a part of that situation. So he was like, I'm putting y'all together. So as soon as he did his deal with it was So Def / Epic, he gets dropped straight off in my studio. And so now we always knew each other, but then we ended up getting closer. Now during that time, there was this young dude who came by and I was like, yo, this dude is like the future. Like, I mean, like he is like everything he was doing was just, you know, so dope. And then the thing was is that there was an age gap between us, but then it didn't feel like it. You know, I would forget he had to get up and go to high school. He'd be literally in my studio at 5 a.m. every night.
Wow.
But I knew, but when he did graduate, we threw him a going away party. And I do know that that at that time, I was like, he's out of here because he's on something that's just, it's just him. Because I tell people being a producer is deeper than just making hot beats. You have to also be able to get in with people. You know what I mean? Because not like you got to have relationships, you know what I'm saying, with artists. Like, so if an artist don't like you or have some kind of, you know, ill feelings towards you, it's hard to get in. So you're going to have to be a person who can play those roles or have somebody around you in your camp that can, because a lot of times placements is nothing more than just, you know, relationships. You know what I mean? And I felt like at that time he was a hard ass producer, but then he also was very good at you know, relationships. Plus he has star quality, you know, just as an overall brand. Like and it showed back then, you know.
Do you think that as a producer, it gets a little hard when, let's just say, like every producer, well, not every, for majority of part, producers have a certain style. But then when you are working with an artist and you do need to build these relationships and you do want to get these placements, you would kind of have to change your style to cater to what's going to pay. Does that get complicated for producers?
Well, I tell every producer this, all right? If you wanna go down to Atlanta right now, let's say, and go get a placement with like Future or whoever, let's say, whoever somebody's dream placement would be. You are competing with years and years of relationships, and there's probably a computer in that studio with thousands and thousands and thousands of beat submissions on it, right? Now, people are like, well, then what do I do? I think the best thing is always to pair yourself with a new emerging brand, because then you can break your sound. You know what I mean? Okay, for instance, I like using God, what's the producer's name? The guy who did like the Baby's beats. God, I can't.
On the track. What's the name?
The Baby. Remember how they kind of merged?
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is that like when you
created a wave, basically.
You create a wave, right? And when you create a wave, guess what? All the big artists gonna call up and they're gonna ask specifically for you. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna actually ask specifically for you because now you have chart position, and so they'll be like, oh, that's that new shit. Everybody like it. Yo, call whoever that producer is up and get them down here. Now you can get a placement with them artists. Do you see what I'm saying? Because now you've established yourself in the game. Now I'm not saying you can't get it the other way, but the other way is kind of like playing the lottery because you're going to have a lot of competition in the aspect that there are producers around every artist there is. So, and producers with relationships, like that are cool with them, they partners, whoever, or they've made money together, they've had prior hits together. And so let's just say I go down there and I jam and I get like 5 records with Future. If let's say Weezy call him up or somebody like that and be like, yo, bro, I got these new records, my shit probably don't get bumped off the project. Do you understand what I'm saying? If my sound isn't improving yet, you feel what I'm saying? Because a lot of times the artists, these guys make so many damn records, you can kind of interchange them with another one. You know what I mean? Sometimes the placement part of it has a lot to do with relationships of actually making the album. You know what I mean? That's why I would say a lot of things have to go right for an artist, producer, whoever. A lot of things got to line up for everything to connect when you see somebody get like a number 1 record or some shit. You know what I mean? A lot of stuff got to go right.
Is it harder to get on as a producer now?
I would say it's no. I think this is what I think. I think the internet and all that has made things easier, but yet harder. So you have a lot, and then the technology. So it's a lot easier for people to produce now. A lot easier for people to do music. But I think it's the same problem with artists because, you have so many people who just say they're rappers now because of the accessibility and how easy it is to just kind of do a record and put it up on, go through DistroKid, go through whoever, you know what I mean? And then have your music on Apple and Spotify and everywhere, have your video on YouTube, So what's happened is that we have a large populace of content. So sometimes it's like, how do people even find what the new hot thing is sometimes, you know what I mean? Right. And I feel like it still kind of goes back to word of mouth. As weird as that is with all this technology, it still goes back to somebody hearing something and being like, nah, have you heard this one record? Have you heard this one record? And that, I tell people the cream will rise to the top, but you got to be consistent, but I do say the game is very saturated right now, but that doesn't bother me because I still feel like if a person's focused and is good at what they do and they stay consistent and stay with it, they'll catch their break.
What is your take on artists wanting free beats?
I believe nothing in life is free, but I will say that sometimes if you're locked in with an artist, of course, you're not going to just charge the artist you locked in with for a beat. Now, I think sometimes as a producer, you have to almost be a producer, but then also an A&R. And you have to kind of dig, I'm not saying just because you charge somebody right now, don't mean that maybe later y'all culminate a relationship and make some hard shit together to where y'all don't do that no more, because eventually it takes people staying down and working together to kind of get out of this, I call it the artist producer purgatory. It's just full of people, and to get to the other side of it, you know what I mean? It takes people really staying together. And I feel like, teamwork does make the dream work, so if you got an artist you believe in and they got the drive and they working hard and they believe in you, y'all could push each other and go somewhere. You know what I mean? So with those situations, yeah, put the money into marketing and pushing yourselves. But if it's like you're just moving beats, you know, here and there, I mean, it can start off with people buying beats from you. And then maybe y'all culminate that relationship to where y'all lock in, and then the agreement's a little different to where you're working on pretty much their whole project, or, you know what I mean, whatever. So then whenever a deal does come, trust me, you're going to get cashed out.
Well, times is hard, man. You know, teamwork make the dream work. You know, I need that freebie right now. It's going to be a hit. And, you know, when it become a hit, I start paying you afterwards.
But like I said, it has to still, you have to still use discernment when you make those decisions, because a lot of people are going to tell you that, man, trying to get free everything. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, do they really have what it takes? And that's what, as a producer, you have to kind of like use your eye and be like, is this person moving out here? Does he have things going on? Does he already have a buzz going? Okay, if I lock in with him, what does it do for my brand? I mean, things have to make sense on another level. It doesn't always have to be financial, but it has to make sense while we're working together.
Don't let it be your first song and they calling you talking about they want a free beat.
Well, especially if they've done nothing out here. You know, if they have nothing moving, it's kind of like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like now, obviously, when people start to make things move, I feel like, yeah, maybe things could make sense. Okay, if you're on fire out here and you need a track, you know what I'm saying? Let's do it. Let's just work it out later. You know what I mean?
What do you, you mentioned that you were very close with Fresh Cocaine, and I want to ask you your take on Fresh Cocaine and the rapper, I think his name is JR. These are two talented individuals who've been in the game a while, who've had financial backing behind them. Fresh Cocaine, of course, label. I think JR, of course, label and features as well. You know, what do you think was? Why do you think that? I don't want to say that they haven't popped off, because I believe they did pop off, but as far as maybe. Is it longevity, or why hasn't their career been taken to the next level?
Well, when you speak about both of them, I mean, I would say it's probably two separate reasons, but I still like when it comes down to talent, you know, it's easy to say that they're probably the two most talented people in the area. Like, you know, they understand how to make records. They understand music. Hell, they know how to engineer. They know how, I mean, a lot of times Fresco can produce,
make good music,
he can do everything, right? So very musical guys, very good. I just feel like the business around both of them, just certain things work. That's why I just said a lot of things have to go right sometimes for a person to get somewhere. Not saying they're not going to get there. It's just that sometimes it may not be the music portion. It could be the business portion. It could be different things, or maybe things that need to be done a little differently. You know what I mean? But I think it's purely business. It's not record wise. I mean, they both know how to make records and songs. So I would have to probably point more to the business side for both of them, really, because I mean, they both cold. So
when you say business, what you mean by business? Because they got to back in.
Business is just like this, like deals not working out, situations not working out, maybe management not working out. Because, you know, when you start to get to the business side, there are a lot of moving parts. It could be attorney being wrapped up in a situation that may not, you know, be conducive to your career. You know, maybe things start out looking one way and then it really turns into something else. I mean, it happens to artists all the time. You know, you'll be there, but, you know, literally maybe doing a deal, doing something, you'll be tied up with something, and then y'all may have a difference of opinions or views. And then, so then now you stuck, and now you got to figure out a way to get out of that to even move on to the next thing that could potentially, you know what I mean, be the lock for you. You know what I mean? So that's why I always say that, you know, things do have to go right in that regard if you want its success. But I still think they got a lot of career, a lot of gas left in their tank. So, you know, I'm sure they'll get it right. You know what I mean? They got the music, they got everything around them. You know, I feel like the city's, you know, bubbling. You have, you know, the other artists we just mentioned earlier, you got deals, and everybody's kind of like on the verge of like blowing up. So in the minute that something blows up from here, trust me, it's like a catalyst. Everything is going to blow here. It's like,
I just asked because I'm like, a lot of artists out here and a lot of people are watching this and a lot of youth are watching this. They're going to be like, they think they can just make a song and be a hot artist the next day. Right. And, you know, like you said, a lot of moving parts go into making a hit song. Not even just that, the business side of it. Because a lot of these artists, I ain't even gonna lie, I've heard of several artists in St. Louis getting gypped out their money by management. You know, stuff like that. Artists don't pay attention to. I do have another question for you. Since you are a producer, you came up, when did you first start producing?
I started producing, I would say like around like 2003, 2004. You know,
great. That's what I needed. So from 2003 to 2022,
yes.
Equipment wise, say I want to start into the art making beats today. What is the biggest difference? Because I know there's not many more mixers and keyboards. It's more computerized.
Like when I first started, man, you needed an investor to start producing. First of all, like I could even show you guys here, but like this is like my first beat machine, and it's okay. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah, show that. They need to see that.
So like, with that, I never forget it. When I got it, it was like, it was like I almost, because it was, I would always go to Guitar Center and play on it. The thing cost $3,000, and all the keyboards cost $3,000, $3,000, $4,000. You just like, you got to have like literally an investor to start producing. I mean, even back then, like the Pro Tools, your Pro Tools rig, everything, it just cost so much. And technology wasn't like how it is now. And so when and then as things started going more digital, because that would be considered analog gear. Yeah. Analog gear are the outboard keyboards and the outboard beat machines and all that, and they get ran into the system. Now that things started becoming more inbox in your computer, all a person needed was a computer. They can get a cracked version of Fruity Loops and get some beat packs and start making beats. I mean, so now, don't take that much now, you know what I mean? And the accessibility of sounds. I remember I would wake up every morning and have to cut samples, like cut like a drum, cut a snare, sample them from other things, you know what I mean? Because there was no beat packs and all that shit, you know what I mean? We had to create our own, which I think also led to, that's why back then I think producers all had distinctive sounds, because it'd be certain producers have certain sounds, certain producers have others, because they all sampling different shit, you know what I mean? Right. Now we all got the same kicks, the same snares, the same, you know what I'm saying?
And that's why I'm asking, because
that's why I think right now you can kind of tell with production a lot of times it can be sometimes monotonous, because we are kind of all using the same shit at this point.
So it's safe to say that the computerization of production has basically simplified the production scan, you know.
Oh, of course. I mean, now we got things like, there's artificial intelligence, AI things that'll do shit for you. I mean, you don't have to know how to do shit for real. You just got to know how to really arrange. You know what I mean?
So you don't even have to know the creativity. They're killing the creativity. Long story short,
I don't really say that, because it's still creative somehow. Because I still feel like producers still find a creative way of still doing, using the technology in a creative fashion. So I feel like, it's just this is just their world now. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit here and be, because I go back and I try to play with my NPC and I'll be like, I'm not excuse my verse. I'm not messing with that, because at the end of the day, like, it's just the technology is just too bad. It's just awful compared to like how fast things are on the laptop I'm on, or my studio computer up here. Like, it's just, things are just way too fast, way too accessible. And I have access to thousands and thousands of sounds, and you can manipulate sounds in so many cool ways. I think that's where the creativity comes now, with the manipulation of the sounds and different cool things, you can do.
Do you consider sampling to be laziness from the producer?
No, people have been sampling since the beginning. I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, besides like when guys were playing like, live, instrumentation music, and even sometimes then they would regurgitate melody or regurgitate things. I just feel like there's only, I guess, to speak to what you guys were saying earlier, I mean, there's only 88 keys on the keyboard. I mean, there's only so much stuff you can do. There's only so many chords. There's only so many things you can really do. You know what I mean? To make musical sense. So you might start to hear, different things, but maybe it's done a certain way or a little bit different. But as far as with rap, I mean, rap has been predicated on sampling. You know what I mean? Like, people have been sampling since the beginning of rap. You know what I mean? So no, I don't consider that. I think after you sample it, you still gotta do your thing to it, you know what I'm saying? Make a record, build a hard beat, do something cool to it, to where it's not just, you know what I'm saying, just a loop. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to do something, you know what I mean? So that still takes creativity.
Well, some of them just like have you ever heard of like a beat that was just a loop? Just, they just.
Yeah, I've seen guys snap together just loops, and that's fine. I mean, if they went through Doug, found that sample, because you got to understand, it ain't like it's just like, oh, here's a photo of just all things is going to be a hot beat for you. You know what I'm saying? So if they went, they dug, they had to find that one sample, then they mashed it with these drums, and they mashed it with this, and then the beat sound hard. I mean, they did what they're supposed to do. You know, because a producer, your job is really the outcome of the record, really. I mean, it's not actually technically beat making, but I mean, if you want to just talk about it in a beat making portion of it, like, yeah, I mean, your job is to make a hot track, you know what I mean? So however you make that hot track, make it.
What is that guy that made the Thriller for Michael Jackson?
Quincy
Jones. His was like live instrumentation, or
he's more and he was also more of an arranger too, who told the people, oh, you play the cello, you're putting the piano here. You know, he's more of a musical director as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're talking about putting together those albums, you have a lot of great musicians, right? And then as a producer, like the producer, you got to kind of look at it like this. If we in a factory and we're producing some product, I would be the person at the very end that says, yeah, this is good. Or maybe we should change this, and this. Okay, this is actually good enough to serve up. Okay, we serve it up. You kind of like the in between, you know, before it goes out, you know what I mean, to the presses, you know what I mean? And then once you got the product, you get it all packaged up, then you take it upstairs to the marketing department and figure out how you're going to sell it. You know what I mean? And essentially that's what artists sometimes fail to realize, that they are the salesperson. You know what I mean? So people have to buy into you. You know what I mean? Because you're truly the salesperson of whatever we just created. But it's the producer's job to make hot records. You know what I mean? So whether it be whether I bring somebody in and they play a guitar, or like you said, like maybe somebody play a cello, however we do it, however I arrange it, however we write the record, however we, you know what I mean? Like the finalized product of it, that's usually what the producer's job really is putting everything together.
What business it? Go ahead, Mojo.
No, I was gonna as a producer in your situation, with you being as experienced as you are, do you prefer in your next moves or whatever you got going on, do you prefer to sit down with an artist and create the beat from scratch, or do you prefer to just go ahead and just send over a sample of, like, you know, I made these beats last week, choose one of these?
It varies. For the most part with me, I like kind of like I can create, like if I know I'm going into a session with the artist, I can kind of create something, especially if it's artists I work with, because it's a lot of artists I develop a rapport with. And it's like, that's the one cool thing too about when you lock in with a producer, or when artists lock in, or when a producer locks in with an artist, you just know what to do and it'll be perfect for that artist. Or it's almost like you get this synergy, like that thing, like, you know, when a team is like in lock with each other, like I know I don't have to even look. I know he's going to be right over there. You know what I mean? And it's the same with that. But sometimes with beat making, I like to do it on my own, because I know that sometimes with artists, it depends on the artist. If they just let me create, but like, I feel like sometimes artists will be like, oh, and then we'll create something that's not what they want. Now, if I would have created, I know it would have been what they wanted. You know what I mean? Because I know what they want more than what they do. It's like, I'm good at what I do on this side. I expect them to be good at what they do on theirs, you know?
Yeah.
What business advice would you give a producer, what they should look for in contracts, or, you know, working with an artist who have a little more juice than they have? Mm-hmm. Some things that you've learned over your time.
Well, you know, my best advice is this: is that, you know, your best weapon in this music business is have a good attorney. You know, and honestly, sometimes, you know, a lot of business doesn't have to be dealt with until it's time to be dealt with. You know, I feel like, yeah, I'm not. People think I'm very lax when it comes to that type of thing, but I understand that until there's really something at stake, you know, there's no reason to be sitting here fighting over this and this. Now y'all can get an understanding of splits. Right. You know what I mean? Like, so nobody gets amnesia. Like if it blows up, like we're not gonna go back and be like, oh, well, no, I did this and this. No, I did this. You know, be fighting over, you know, the publishing portion of it. But I would definitely school yourself on publishing, school yourself on royalties. I feel like we live in an information age. I call it YouTube University. Like, you can learn anything on there. And then obviously when things get real, pair yourself with a great attorney. Don't sign anything until, you know, it's been looked over, because what happens is that when you hear these horror stories, somebody signs something, because if you didn't sign anything, they have to do this thing called a producer declaration, which that is the producer given the right to actually take the track and actually put it up for sale or to do whatever. So if a label just does that without your consent and you haven't been paid or anything, you can sue for way more money than you would have made off the record, and plus damages. You know what I mean?
Can you should be royalties over loyalty. That's a fact.
Absolutely, man. You got to keep it business with people you work with for sure. Keep it fair. But like I said, that's why you pair yourself with a good attorney. You know what I mean?
Can you go over your show that's on Instagram and live?
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, like right now, I'm paired up. Shout out to Unplugged Studios. Actually, one of my former artists is CEO Solo. CEO Solo was a singer, a singer-songwriter that I work with. And so, we're family, and then J-Bo's family. And, we actually kind of brainstorm, and then shout out to Princess Storm from Hot 104. She's the assistant PD, and it was awesome that she actually gave us her blessing on the show as well. But it's called Unplugged Music Review. And what I wanted to do was kind of have this kind of, correspondence with people if they submit music. Now, right now, we're just doing a $25 fee of to have it on the actual show, and we will discuss it and have everybody's opinion. Like last week, we had Jay Phipps on there, who I thought was amazing guest that we had on there and gave some really, really good insight to the artist. But you send it to to my Cash App, which is the money sign. I am Ashleybooker, which is I am, and it's ASHLEYBOOKER at Gmail. Well, not at Gmail. I'm sorry. Cash App, whatever. And then you submit music to Unplugged Studios. Let me make sure I'm not butchering this. 1 second.
I get it right. These folks need to know.
Yeah, we got to get it right. Hold on. Here we go. Oh, it must be in my thing. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm sorry.
Right, cool.
And also, while you're looking for that, would you accept any Christian artists sending their music in, or is it strictly?
That's why I want to make it clear. It's all genre. It's all genre. I feel like people don't send. I mean, actually, last week I take that back. We had a few R&B submissions that was actually pretty cool. So, hold on, it would be on my page, right?
You said this the beginning of the R&B era.
Yeah, no, we're gonna speak.
It's like starting to turn back there, yeah.
But it's Unplugged. It's unpluggedstl@gmail.com. That's where you submit the song, and you just take a picture, and that you've actually submitted the Cash App, and we will queue you up for the shows. If it's not on that broadcast, it'll be on the next one. You're going to be guaranteed a slot and guaranteed to actually get like people in an analysis form of like their music, like whether we love it, I'm going to tell you why I love it. Whether I feel like it needs work, I'm going to tell you why it needs work and things you can improve upon. And you're free to continue to send and try to prove us wrong. So, but it's every Thursday at 7 p.m. And we're going live.
That J-Bo is BMF J-Bo with 50 Cent. So,
Yep.
Congratulations, man. It seems like and again, we want to give you your flowers while you're here. You say you've been making music since 2003. I'm sure you've been through your trials, your tribulations.
I have.
You've been to school, probably felt like, man, times were hard, like probably felt like you weren't gonna make it, because this is a hard industry to break into, especially when you're competing with people who have money and relationships, and you're just coming in. And for you to have your longevity and try to give back to artists and also give us your time, definitely want to give you your problems. We want to thank you as well for that. And hopefully we can do something, man, in the future. Put something together.
I would love to. I would love to do something because we're just now kind of hopping into this world of going live and podcasting and all that. So I would love to sit down. Maybe we do lunch. I don't know. And kind of figure
sure.
out.
No, absolutely. Okay. What would you tell any artist, in reference to what she was just talking about? What would you tell any producer or artist on the come up who don't have the following, or who don't? I ain't gonna say following, but who don't have the resources as far as studios and everything like that, like friends to network with and things like that.
I feel like, but that is the thing. The artist is what are artists? They're supposed to be the star, right? But the star gotta have a magnetic pull on people, meaning that they gotta get out here and get it. You know what I mean? Like, meaning that, like, whether it be because when people tell me they have nothing, that means they gotta start from somewhere, and I feel that. I'm not saying life's fair. Like, people start at different points. There might be somebody who's connected with somebody, might be having a little easier of a road, but I do say that the cream will rise to the top. And I feel like if you need finances, work, save money, get yourself together, because honestly, invest in yourself. Like, take the money you are making, invest in yourself, really believe in yourself. When you get out here, really sell yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, sell yourself, meaning that I'm not saying be annoying and anything like that. I'm just saying that, but people should know you're doing music, you're an artist. You know what I mean? What your aspirations are. You shouldn't be like, okay, I'm an aspiring artist, but you just keep it all up here. Everybody should know. Oh no, so then now we on this podcast, you can be like, actually, you know what? I got a guy who da 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 da. I'm like, oh, you know what? Let me hear him. And then boom, now that's a bridge, that's a gap. You know what I'm saying? Like, right, yeah. Just, I just feel like people sometimes just want it.
They don't know how to network. Sometimes
you got it, and it's all networking. So if you don't know how to network in the this is the entertainment business. So if you don't know how to network, I don't really know how far you go in it anyway. You got to know how to network. You got to know how to sell yourself, because you're selling yourself to consumers at all times. Yep. So even when you're on tour, when you're just doing shows like that, that's you selling yourself. You know what I'm saying? So like you have to be okay with sales. If you're not okay with sales, then I don't really know if this is for you.
Yes, it's interesting because when I was a young, when I was going to school, and I would always hear people saying you got to network, and I'm like, wow, what is networking? How do I network? No one ever really came and expanded upon like how do you network with someone? How do you sell yourself to someone? Because a person like if you're on the come up, if I'm a producer, if I'm a rapper, or if I'm trying to get somebody, when I'm coming out, I'm just like, hey, check out my music. Hey, can you do this? Or how would I come up and network with a person like you or someone in the business?
You know what I say? Like anytime you okay, first things first, like anywhere you go, like be personable. You know what I mean? Like I tell people, that's like the first step. So like when I first got in the music game, now the things are going to make you go a little faster. Try to put yourself in the arenas where people in the business are at. You know what I mean? First, okay, so, a bunch of people be over at this studio. Try to get over at that studio, book time. However, because you could book time, and then now you at least are in the vicinity with some people who might have, something that can actually help you. You know what I mean? And all you got to really do is just be like, hey, my name is. Oh, hey, nice to meet you, my man. Like, what's your name? Oh, okay, my name is so-and-so. Yeah, actually, I'm an artist. I'm over here in the studio. Hey, down here. Okay, get to chit-chatting and kind of just find out who that person is. Mm-hmm. I literally, a lot of the contacts and a lot of people I still do business with to this day out of town, I met them that way. Because I couldn't walk in a building, whether it be at the labels or studios where, I guess all the acts and all the big stars is that, and not just talk to everybody there, not just the star. Like I'm talking about the person who just be in the room. Obviously, this person here for a reason. Right. You never know them faceless people be the people you need to know anyway. Right. And so therefore, I ended up culminating a great contact base because I would walk in the room and I'd be like, oh hey man, what's your name? Okay, oh yeah, boom. And it's people like that at that time they might have been like an assistant. They might have been an assistant engineer or whatever. Then now these guys are executives. You know what I'm saying? Because over time, people level up. So, but it starts with kind of talking to everybody in the building. I know people have that saying where you talk to everybody. I don't care if the person taking out the trash. You talk to them. Hey, man, what's your name? Mm-hmm. You get to know everybody because you don't know how that might be a thing because they could give you some information. Be like, hey, yo, actually, I know when so-and-so gonna be in their office, man, because I go by there every day, just because you actually stopped and talked to them. Right. Don't ever be too good to sit and talk to people because you don't know what a person can do for you or what kind of value they can provide.
And be too prideful.
Antisocial ain't gonna make it in the industry. Long story.
Unless you sign to somebody who is social.
right.
Somebody got to be social. Somebody
Jay-Z, Dame Dash, when Dame Dash was the mouthpiece.
Correct. Somebody in the beginning of the game got to be the mouthpiece or somebody that's going to sell. But even to speak to people like Jay-Z, he come off like that, like quiet, but he's also personable too. I mean, all these guys, they there for a reason. You know what I mean? Like they know how to do this celebrity thing. You know what I mean? So they understand the politics. They understand how you have to carry about yourself. You know what I mean? Because that's how you really get on. And that's what kind of obsesses me sometimes with up and coming acts is that I'll be around acts. I just got off the road with Chingy and I've been on some tours like him, Luda, Nelly was there one. And it's like, how do these guys work harder than people who've never achieved anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's an issue too. Like people just want it to be like handed to them when you still seeing guys who don't really have to do certain things, still doing certain things. You know what I'm saying by that? Right. And it's like, and that's where me and how I evaluate talent comes into play of if I see an artist, how much effort are they really putting into their brand, their thing. I mean, it has to be bigger than just the music, because yes, I know a lot of people make great music, but if you have no ability to sell it, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it becomes
discipline gonna take you places where the motivation just can't. It's
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, just think about like we were just talking about how many artists y'all think personally is in the game and popping and probably multi-millionaires who you think aren't really that great musically.
Yeah. But I guarantee behind closed doors, they working them.
They got something. That's what I'm trying to tell people. They got something. So that means they might light up a room. They got something about them. You know what I'm saying? They might be
a brand
influences. You know what I'm saying? They dress different. They're comfortable in their own skin. You know what I'm saying? I tell people really don't like to pay for what they can see next door. So an artist should always be comfortable in their own skin. And also speaks to why, when you brought up like Pink Caravan, I do like that. I like people who are comfortable with being themselves, because you do that eventually the cream will rise to the top.
For sure, man. Again, we need to set up that lunch date. But most of all, man, again, congratulations to you. Thank you again, and keep putting in the hard work that you're doing. And we'll definitely keep in touch with you for sure.
Okay.